Hey everyone, welcome to another video on the JV and Millie channel, and today, as it is like, oh my gosh, less than a week till Halloween, we're going to be going into our top 10 Scooby movies that give us that Halloween spooky feeling. Now, ultimately, this is going to consist of my top 5 and JB's top 5. We've not discussed this, so there may be a couple of repeats in there, but I'm actually interested to get his take on this. Now, this in no way means this is our top 5 Scooby movies of all time. It is purely just when you're getting towards the end of October, you start to see the pumpkins outside and in the stores, what it is you want to go home and watch.
Yeah, like, there's several different aspects that I've used, and I think you'll have used as well. And I don't know how you'll have prioritised yours. If I may, I will explain mine.
You can explain yours.
Yeah, so I've used 3 different aspects. One, which is the most important before you said this isn't our favourite movies, it's how much I enjoyed it, right?
Yeah.
2 is, I don't want to say scare factor, but it is scare factor in that you need a certain level of creepiness and uneasiness for it to be Halloween-y. But then 3, Halloween vibe, which I've prioritised the least, because if, the Halloween vibe is the most important, well, the win is always going to be the one with Halloween in the title.
No,
you know what I mean? Like,
oh, JV, we're going to get into an argument already.
No, the most obvious Halloween, and I've not done that.
I have. Mine is based on what I want to watch in October, not what I want to watch in December, in January, in the middle of summer.
Yeah, so
this is what I want to watch in October.
Because that's the diff. I've obviously put that into consideration. It's not been disregarded, but I've not just gone, okay, there's a pumpkin in this one, I'm gonna walk
Okay, don't worry everyone, I'm here to shout at JB on your behalf. We said this was a Halloween list, we're gonna have issues.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we're gonna start with our 5th favourite, but I want to say that just because this is at the bottom of the list, it's not our least favourite Scooby movie. This ultimately is still our top 5 for this time of year, or however JB's worked this out. Okay, I'm gonna start off with my 5th place, which is Goblin King.
Oh, okay. Explain yourself.
I think it's a fun movie. I'll always like the music in it, and it does give me a Halloween vibe. It's just not the top for me in terms of story, but I still enjoy it.
Okay, so we've differed, and my number 5 is Happy Halloween Scooby Doo.
Interesting, okay.
Because obviously it goes way up there, right? Even if you hate the movie, if it's Halloween time, with all the themes around Halloween, or the pumpkins, the trick-or-treating, and the fact that the main villains are literally evil pumpkins, you can't go really wrong with it if it's just background noise or something. Now, people love this movie, and me, because I'm not really a Batman fan, I didn't really get the whole Scarecrow thing. Honestly, it's a lot lower down on my list than it is compared to a lot of people. So if you are going, oh, that should have been number 1 or number 2, I understand, but I just, as a non-Batman person, it wasn't really my thing. I don't know who Batman is, I don't know who Elvira is, so... But I can't deny that in terms of Halloweenness, spookiness, it is up there. It is up there. So that's why that's my number 5, but I couldn't put it any higher.
Okay. Guess we're heading on to number 4s then, and my number 4 is Abracadabra Doo.
Ooh.
Now for me, this is number 4 because I enjoyed the story. There's something about the villain that really stands out in this for me, and I just remember reviewing it and really enjoyed it. Like, as we were preparing for this, I took a look through our my notebook at least, where we write our notes for doing the reviews, and so many times in this movie I just put like Lillard, because this was just such a strong Shaggy performance, and I don't know, there was just a lot that came together for this one, and for me it does have that like Halloween-y feel.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. I think it's Lillard's first one, so maybe he was like more Shaggy than, what I mean? Now he's kind of like grown into that, so I like that a lot. My 4th one, and I think you will be angry at me for this.
Oh, here we go.
Because I suspect this is a lot further up your list, because I know it's on your list. Like, I know there's no way it isn't.
You know.
So number 4 Scooby Doo on Zombie Island.
Okay.
And I'll explain why based on my facts.
You're gonna be surprised with me.
I think it completely fails in the Halloween aspect, right? In that there's nothing to do with Halloween, but it is an undeniable classic. I absolutely love watching it, and it's actually genuinely creepy. So it wins the fear factor, it wins the enjoyability factor, but it doesn't, like, I think it's got to a stage where it is overhyped. It was never even one of my favorites as a kid, but it's one that every time I've watched it, I've never once been bored, and I must have watched it about 50 times, so that said something.
Well, boy, do I have a surprise for you. That's not in my top 5.
Really?
I don't get the Halloween vibe from it, and it used to be in my top 5, it really did. But since watching Return to Zombie Island and that kind of thing, I almost feel like that movie discredited it.
I thought you were going to say, like, Return to Zombie Island just smoked
No, it made it fall from grace a little bit. Like, it just didn't have the same impact on me anymore. It's kind of strange. Yeah, kind of awkward. But also, I just don't get the Halloween vibe from it, but I do still, really enjoy the movie. But yeah, I'm almost impressed that it's made it to your top 5.
I thought you were ripping into me at the start that you thought I didn't do it Halloween-y.
I feel like when we get to number 1, I kind of want to make you go over your list again just so I can hear them in order and like fully take it in. Right. So for my number 3, Happy Halloween.
Oh, okay.
It was higher at my list. I genuinely really enjoy this movie. I kind of like, I don't know. I really like how it's almost like a Halloween car chase.
That's why I didn't like it.
It's kind of funny. Like, I really enjoy it. There's a really nice moment with Shaggy and Velma in that movie as well. Velma's often my least favourite character in so many adaptations, but here even she gets the nice scene with Shaggy and Scooby where they share the Scooby snacks and stuff. And yeah, ultimately, great Halloween movie. So you're number 3.
People are gonna love you for that. I hope you know that. So
why? What did I do?
Because people love Happy Halloween, Scooby Doo. So yeah, comment down below. Rare Millie W. So is this number 3?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think actually, if you look back at our list, I think we actually flipped these. Because for my number 3, I have Scooby Doo and the Goblin King.
So you put that as your 5th? Yeah, your 3rd, but your Halloween was your 5th?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we did flip it. Oh, why do you think that Goblin King is better than Happy Halloween?
Because it is something that, by nature, it seems like it could only happen upon Halloween. Like, it isn't just a mystery. In fact, I'd barely even call it a mystery. And so to that end, like, one of the first things we see is Shaggy and Scooby turning into these twisted monsters. Not only that, but there's an actual genuinely scary part which shows Velma turning into a werewolf. That's kind of unsettling, and given that it was the last kind of adventure into real paranormal Scooby, it just seems inherently Halloween-y without, having to knock you over the head with the fact that it's Halloween. It's just, it literally feels like, it's like a classic child Halloween movie, full of crazy creatures and mystical realms. It just seems classic Halloween.
Okay, interesting. Now we are in the top 2 here. So my second place for Scooby-Doo Halloween feel enjoyed movie is Trick or Treat. Obviously, it's the newest one to come out, and let me tell you, I think it is incredible. Like, I do want to go into a video, like, I genuinely want to do a video where we just talk about all my favourite things about that movie, because there is so many. It meets the Halloween quota on every level, but it goes beyond that in that you can tell it was made by someone that genuinely loves Scooby. There's so many calls back to the originals. It's like a proper Scooby plot. It's not just Scooby-Doo and here's the guest. It's real Scooby. It's great. I love it so much. I get such Halloween feels from it. I love that movie.
You know what? I also have Trick or Treat Scooby-Doo as number 2.
Oh, we're about to argue on number 1.
No. So
okay, let's go into number 2. Like, why?
Why don't we embrace what we agree on instead of looking to conflict? I just think, and this a load of people say, "Oh, Happy Halloween's better," right? And I think maybe if you've stuck with Scooby for a long time, possibly, maybe Happy Halloween's a better representative of how Scooby's changed and the new style. But for me, the first one that we properly watched back was Sword and the Scoob. And so when I got to Happy Halloween, or to Trick or Treat Scooby Doo, it didn't feel like it fit into the mold of the newer movies. It felt like a movie that would have came out back when we were children.
And would have loved it.
Yeah, so it didn't feel like it fit in with the new regime, which is why maybe I think some people have a problem with it. But to me, it's like this movie could have came out as a kid, and I would have absolutely loved it. It's perfect for casual audiences. It doesn't go, oh, here, did you know that Hanna-Barbera, Warner Bros. Also own Batman? So here we're going to have a Batman villain, and it's going to be a massive car chase because we need action nowadays. It just told us a simple, classic, honest Halloween story that ultimately didn't even emphasize Halloween. It's just, okay, we're going to call it Trick or Treat because I guess there's a bit of that in there. But it's just a fun, inconsequential in the best possible way, Scooby movie. Like, it's just fun. Great music, great acting. Coco Diablo's awesome. And Velma's actually tolerable. People are like, and this is the one thing, and we could do a Trick or Treat video, but people are like, oh, well, Velma had a crush and it made it her whole personality.
No.
Well, maybe, actually, but if it's a choice between Velma having a crush and Velma stomping over the supernatural and ruining classic movies, I'm gonna take Velma having a crush over that any day. So, yeah. Honestly, that's why for me. People are gonna disagree, but no, Trick or Treat number 2.
Okay, and we are heading up to our first place. Now, before we get there, before I say my first place one, I'm going to give my honourable mentions of ones that, had this been a top 10, they'd have certainly been in there for me. But it also starts to narrow down as to what my top 1 is. So I kind of want to look at JB's reaction.
Well, do you want... Because I've got 3 honourable mentions. Do you want to do one of yours, one of mine, one of yours, one of mine?
I guess I'm going to do mine then, do my number 1, then you do yours and your number 1.
Okay.
Because ultimately, like I said, it's going to narrow it down a little bit. So for me, honourable mentions that I still get the spooky vibes from, but not for my top 5. I think Legend of the Vampire easily could have had a place in there.
Yeah.
Ghoul School, again, loved that movie so much. Zombie Island, which JB did think was going to be in my top 5. A lot of people hate this movie, and if you could remove the last 5 minutes, I actually loved it, and that's Curse of the 13th Ghost. And also Music of the Vampire. They all could have been in my top 5. They could have, but for me, in first place has to be Witch's Ghost. I think to have giant pumpkins, to have the Hex Girls as part of Halloween is honestly an incredible thing. Like, I will watch and love The Witch's Ghost at any time of the year. It's definitely like top 3 Scooby movies for me. Very controversial because I know a lot of people don't like it, but it's my top 3, certainly top 1 for Halloween. And honestly, I can't think of a better way to celebrate Halloween than that movie. I mean, like I said, the Hex Girls thing and the giant pumpkins, it's a great plot. There's a double unmasking. They allow the supernatural element in there as well. There's just so many tick boxes. I absolutely love it. So that is my number 1. Now, JB, your honourable mentions and then your number 1, and I know I'm going to be disappointed with you.
Okay, so my weakest honourable mention is Camp Scare. Because I love watching it, and it's, I think, the scariest Scooby movie in modern day. That isn't a Mook animation or whatever, but it is the weakest and didn't make the list because it isn't just not the Halloween vibe. It's almost minus points, and everything from the opening title sequence is summer. Like, here comes... No. Like, here comes summer. Like, it's great, but it is not a Halloween movie. In fact, it's kind of a reverse Halloween movie. So, for all it does, good scare factor. I love watching it. It is kind of inappropriate.
No, it's a valid honourable mention. Like you said, the music in that, like, genuinely is stuck in my head. Like, the second you said it, I wanted to sing.
Yeah. So, it's my weakest honourable mention. Okay? And then going from there, my second honourable mention is Scooby Doo and the Ghoul score. Just because, again, all the monsters, it's from that old era where they weren't afraid to be a bit edgy and a bit scary.
Something we'd agreed on.
So you've had some of like the characters that are genuinely kind of creepy and crawly, like Revolta, but ultimately it didn't make the list. And the best honourable mention, the king of honourable mentions for me, is Scooby Doo and the Witch's Ghost. Because like you say, it's great. You know, it's amazing. But it never stood out to me.
I am going to rip you to shreds when you say what your number one is. I can tell you that for nothing.
Because the thing is, right? Like, you're making me nervous now.
Oh, I think because I know what your number one is.
I think the more I've gone into it, the more Witch's Ghost is creeping up the list as my favourite Mook Animation era film. But in terms of scariness, I can't find anything in it that's genuinely creepy. You know, I'm way more scared of the zombies from Zombie Island, and I'm even kind of scared of the concept of not the aliens from the Alien Invaders, but the MPs. Like, the kind of idea of a shady government does unsettle me. So, yeah.
Have you not seen all those lockdown parties? We do have a shady government.
So, the number one that was on my list...
Come on, Sim, get it out.
What do you mean, Sim? Is Scooby-Doo.
You're a disappointment.
2002.
You're a disappointment.
What?
Where does Halloween come into this?
What do you mean, where does Halloween come into this?
You see that picture on the screen? It's a pumpkin, JB.
No, because you're being harsh on me because of what it is, not that it isn't Halloween. Like... But you have like.
Would it be in your top 5 if Gellar wasn't Daphne?
Oh yeah, no, genuinely, yeah.
Okay, tell me.
Okay, let's go through my criteria. So let's talk about Halloween. It doesn't fulfill the Halloween quota at all, but at the same time,
0.
It isn't anti-Halloween. Yes, it's on a tropical island. Yes, the weather's nice. But the fact that it is clearly abroad, it's clearly removed from the setting of England, even America, right? It's like, you know, some places, you know, Christmas is in the sun. So I'll forgive it for that aspect. So, I don't know. It isn't anti-Halloween, but it isn't Halloween. Now, Fear Factor, it's the first movie that I remember genuinely scaring me. That scene with Mary Jane getting hit by the branch on the mask sequence, that is unsettling. Not only that, but it's not afraid to be paranormal with the spooky demons, the possessions. And you have to acknowledge as well, unlike all the other movies on this list, this was initially made with teenagers and adults in mind. It was just watered down for that kind of U-rated audience. So inherently it's gonna be the spookiest, it's... You know, it was made with that in mind more than any of the others. And enjoyment, it's like my favourite movie of all time. So, it does work.
Yes, and Loch Ness is my favourite Scooby movie, but you don't see me feeling the need to go, yeah, but like, you see the Loch Ness at night, and they're in a costume, and it's great, and it's my favourite.
I think you're just upset that I did the Gellar one, but I understand. But let's look at it.
Okay, let's review.
Let's take a look.
I mean, going over, I guess, my top 5 first, starting off with the Goblin King as number 5, Abracadabra as number 4.
What does Abracadabra have to do with Halloween?
The villain's really scary.
What, and the lunar ghost, the spooky demons, the weird mask things aren't scary. The Ornuki Beast is scary enough. And they made a conscious effort to evoke the sense of horror movies, which is very Halloween-y. Let me defend myself.
So maybe I could have forgiven you putting it as number 4,
Let me defend myself.
Where I put Abracadabra do.
Freddie Prinze Jr., I Know What You Did Last Summer. Matthew Lillard, Scream, 13 Ghosts. Sarah Michelle Gellar, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Linda Cardellini, she did spooky stuff. Like, everything, it's designed to be a horror movie. It just got snipped and snapped and stumped by obviously Kent Bader upon the pressure of the public to water it down. If it was like, it's got the makings of a horror, a classic horror. Its cast is all alumni from horror movies.
You've pulled upon one movie.
No.
You've pulled upon one movie that each of them have done. You're also forgetting to mention how Gellar's got such an elaborate character in that movie she did with the Fat Controller, and how Linda Cardellini is now a Marvel mum. You can't use other acting credits.
That was after, but the provenance is that they wanted horror actors at the time, not what they went on to do. Contextually.
Yes, so let's put it at number 4.
Luna Ghost.
Okay, so moving on to number 3, been Happy Halloween. Number 2, been Trick or Treat. And number 1, been The Witch's Ghost. I'm very happy with that list.
I think you do have a very nice list. So 5 for
Remind us, simp.
Happy Halloween. 4, Zombie Island. 3, Goblin King. 2, Trick or Treat. And 1, 2002.
I can give full credibility to your list other than number 1.
Oh, man. Why? You don't say that.
I just don't see it.
Okay, I do understand that. But I want to say, if you can find me a Scooby Doo movie with demonic possessions, out-of-body experiences, genuine demons, spooky cackling, like humans. I mean, humans almost, right? With like the Coast Guards. Like, it's just, I think the one thing for me that puts it down, you know what? I'll tell you this funny thing actually, but this doesn't help my case with the simping thing, because I will admit, maybe, but I nearly put Monsters Unleashed on the list, given that it was more not summer holiday vibes. But it just isn't scary. Nothing in Monsters Unleashed scares me. But 2002 genuinely was made with the older audience in mind, which is why it edges it for Halloween.
I think you're absolutely bonkers that you're putting Mr. Bean as been more intimidating than a pterodactyl ghost.
Nah, it is.
Scrappy
Rex.
It's Scrappy.
Nah, well, I think people will admit that 2002 is scarier.
Okay, so we need some answers in the comments section here. Firstly, would you say that 2002 Scooby Doo the movie is more of a Halloween movie than Monsters Unleashed? Secondly, I guess I want to know, which list do you agree the most with?
That's an interesting one. What was your number 1?
Witch's Ghost.
I think
I almost want to put a poll out on one of our social medias about what's the most Halloween movie between those two.
Because I think yours edges the Halloween factor, but if it was just Halloween factor, everyone would have the same list.
May I direct you to the pumpkins on the screen?
Yeah, but like if it's just Halloween, I'm sticking on Happy Halloween, and that wouldn't be my first choice. I don't know. I think you've got too overwhelmed with Halloween, but I think people will agree more with your list, and I expect them to, because I went in knowing, look, I want to just do more, first and foremost, what I enjoy that's scary, because I love loads of Scooby-Doo movies that aren't scary. Like, for instance, The Sword and the Scoob I really like. It isn't scary at all. The Courage movie I liked, I think, more than you, but it wasn't scary. Like, just look at the list there. Like, obviously, Aloha Scooby-Doo, love, not scary. Like, some of my favourite movies are they're just not
For me,
freaky.
that's Loch Ness. Like, it's my favourite, but it's not scary.
Well, I don't know. There's some elements of Loch Ness. There's some elements.
When we were going through it, I just kept looking at the cyber chase. Like, I love that movie.
I think partly why this is a bit of a unique list for us is I think we know stuff that we can apply. So instantly when, like, come on, like, there's the stories we've heard about 2002, like, that kind of edges it for me. But well, if you would have gone Loch Ness, well, Joe Sichter literally said that scene where the Loch Ness monster presents itself in the window was ripped straight out of a classic horror movie. So because we know that, we heard that, I would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see that.
I'm taking these movies at face value, not the version they wanted to make in your case or anything else. Like, I'm happy with my list.
I don't know. I think, and again, this isn't the measure of scariness or even the measure of quality, but I do believe, say when we have kids, you know, you've got Millie Jr., JB Jr., say they're like 4 years old, 5 years old, I think you would be more cautious to show them 2002 than Witch's Ghost. And I think a lot of parents would be a bit like, ooh, hang on a minute, that's a bit, you know.
I wouldn't say it's cautious. I'd just say that a lot of parenting styles as you start off with cartoons.
Well, I had Howard the Duck and I was read Stephen King. I'm a weird case. You know what I mean? You're more normal than me, I'll give you that. But yeah, I guess those are our picks for the Halloween movies. I am considering, although I don't know how seriously, I think we may need to collaborate with some people on this, potentially top 10 episodes. But I don't feel that we know enough episodes to do that this year. I don't know. What do you think about that? Because that's the natural progression from this video. I feel like we could. I just don't know how good it would be.
I physically don't think I could.
We know Where Are You? We know the new Scooby Doo movies. We know what's new. We know Pup Named Scooby Doo. We know...
I think you're speaking for yourself there.
Well...
The only thing that springs to mind for me is Marcy. That one. Velma's cousin. Whose birthday's on Halloween. That's the only one that springs to mind for me.
Yeah. I will see. If, like, everyone in the comment section is like, oh, do the TV episodes, I guess we can research some, right? But for now, that is the extent of our kind of ranking list for the Scooby-Doo content for Halloween. So yeah, like, did you agree with our list? Did you disagree with them? Whose list do you like the most? And if you want to make your own list of either top 5, because that's technically what we did, or top 10 if you want to kind of go the extreme, combine your knowledge to be the ultimate JB and Millie machine, please leave your list in the comment section. And yeah, please like, comment, and subscribe.
JB and Millie.